So in this short video, we're just going to give you a quick overview of the MetaTrader platform. Now, the screen you're looking at now is MetaTrader 5. However, if you're on MetaTrader 4, this will look pretty much identical. Both MetaTrader platforms look and function pretty much the same. So if you're on MetaTrader 4 and you're following along, everything will pretty much be in the same place and look the same. Um, Now, to give you a quick overview of one of these platforms, I know at first glance they can look extremely complex if you're not used to them. They are not as complex as they first appear, and they're actually quite straightforward, especially when you have them set up to your liking. And hopefully in this short tutorial I'll be able to simplify and demystify them a little bit. This is not a fully comprehensive tutorial. It's really just a beginner introduction on how the basics of the platform function and how you'd be able to read charts and take trades, etc. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the various windows you're looking at now. The first window over here on your left hand side is called your market watch. This gives you a list of the different markets that you can trade. Currently, you're seeing only a short list of currency pairs that are shown by default in the market watch. However, that's obviously not a complete list of the things you can trade with your broker. You'll see only down here only 15 of 935 things markets are currently being displayed. So if we want to trade a market that's not displayed in our market watch, we could click on this little add button and it'll bring up a menu. Or alternatively, and especially on MetaTrader 4, you would click View and then Symbols, which will open up the full list of things and markets that your broker will allow you to trade. You'll see we're currently clicked into Forex, minor Forex pairs here, and you'll see a lot of these have this little gold symbol beside them, and quite a few of them have the little grayed out symbol. The gold symbol means that they are shown here in the market watch. The gray symbol means that they are not shown. Now here with Vantage Markets, Vantage allow you to trade a huge different array of markets, everything from cryptocurrencies to wheat futures to everything in between. We will just, as an example, let's just add maybe click on the CFDs and click on major indices and say we wanted to trade the Dow Jones. We could simply click on Dow Jones here. We'll see it's gray, which means it's not showed in our market watch. All we have to do is click on it and click show symbol. It'll go from gray to gold, and you'll see that the Dow Jones has now appeared over on our market watch. So that's how you quickly add things into your market watch. I'll show you how to trade that market and look at charts of it in a moment. The next thing to do is just go down to your next window here, which is called your navigator. Your navigator, you're probably not going to use that much. It allows you, if you had multiple accounts, even with multiple brokers, it would allow you to switch between them quite easily. It will allow you to put in and show custom indicators and look at things like expert advisors and scripts, which is all to do with automatic trading, which is outside the scope of this tutorial anyway. So the navigator, if you're a beginner, you're probably not going to interact with that much. The next view pane down here at the bottom is called your terminal bar or your toolbox. And it has a bunch of different tabs, as you can see down here. However, the two most important tabs, really, the ones you'll be using more often than not, are the Trade tab and the History tab. Now, the History tab shows you a current record of your current account balance. It'll also show you a record of every deposit and withdrawal you've made in and out of your account. It will also show you a record of every closed trade you've ever made in your account and whether you closed that trade at a profit or a loss. And if you right click here, you'll get a bunch of different options. You can output reports and P&Ls and all that kind of thing for different time frames as you wish. So that's the History tab. The other most important tab is the trade tab, which is the tab you'll probably be looking at by default. That, as you can see, will show you your current account balance. It will also show you a record of every currently open trade you have and whether that trade is trading at a profit or a loss, and it will allow you to close that trade as well. And I'll show you an example of that when we get to taking a live trade in a moment. The next thing, of course, to look at is your charting window or your main view pane here. As you can see, there's a bunch of charts open in it. There's these sort of 4 default currency markets open. You'll see there's the Australian dollar to Canadian dollar here. There's the euro to Singapore dollar, and so on. Now we can add additional charts in here quite easily. I will show you a couple of ways of doing that. If we wanted to look at our Dow Jones chart, for example, excuse me, we can right click on it and we can click on chart window, and it will lay another chart on top, our Dow Jones chart. Another way of adding a chart is you could create a little bit of empty space in your view pane. You could click and hold here and drag this over here, and you could click and hold on any chart here and you could drag into the empty space, and it's going to open up that chart. Now, as you can see, things can get quite messy here quite quickly if you're just pulling in, loading up a bunch of new charts. There is this handy button up here. I will go through all these buttons, well, very briefly, these buttons of what they do in a moment, but there is this button here with the 4 squares, which is just an arrange windows button. If you click on that, it just arranges whatever open charts you have into your view pane neatly. However, you will most likely not be looking at your charts like this. You will most likely always be looking at your charts in full screen mode. So if you click on this square here, it'll bring this chart into full screen. We're just on the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar chart here. And you'll generally just be looking at your charts in full screen mode, but you'll see there's all these tabs down at the bottom. These are the tabs for our opened charts, and we can switch between them in full screen mode by just clicking on the tabs down at the bottom. This is generally the way you'll be navigating through your charts on MetaTrader 4. Of course, if you want to see them all again, you can just go up and click on that 4 squares button. You can put all your charts in the view pane as you wish. We'll just go back into full screen for a moment, because I'll just show you how you would change the style of your chart. This is probably the default style you're looking at on your MetaTrader platform. You can see it's a Japanese candlestick chart. I will explain a little bit more about what Japanese candlesticks mean in a moment, but for now I'll just show you how you change the style of them. So as you can see, we just have these sort of white candlesticks showing price action going downwards. We have these sort of empty see-through candlesticks showing price action going upwards. Generally, most people will be used to looking at red and green candlesticks, red showing price action going downwards, green showing price action going upwards. So you can quickly and easily change your charts to any color you want if you simply right click on a chart and you go all the way down to properties, and we'll just simply change this to red and green candlesticks. So bar up is green, bar down, let's change that to red. Bull candle, let's change that to the same green. Bear candle, let's change that to red as well. You can change colors of anything you want here, including the background if you want a white background or a gray background or whatever you prefer, but we'll just change the candlesticks for the moment. We'll click OK. And you'll see that our candlesticks have updated to red and green candlesticks, which is what most people would be used to looking at. Now you'll see if I switch through my charts again with these tabs on the bottom, it hasn't changed my charts to my new style. So it'll be a bit annoying doing that for each individual chart. So what we can do is, once we have a chart set up the way we like it, we can just right click. We can go to templates, we can click on save templates, and here I'm just going to click 1, 2, 3 as an example name to save a template. So that will save the template now for this type of chart style. So every time I go to open a new chart, I can just right click, go to templates. I'll see my 1, 2, 3 template there. I can just click on that, and it's a way you can quickly change your charts to the style you like. And once you've done that once, it will stay like that. So if you close down the application and open it up again, these charts are always going to be in that style you've selected. That is a quick overview of how you change the style of the charts. I'll very briefly give you an outline of what a Japanese candlestick chart is representing if you're not familiar with that or you haven't come across it before. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. Japanese candlestick is a Japanese candlestick is one of these rectangles you're looking at here, and all it's doing is representing price action of a market over a given period of time. And you will notice on these candlesticks they sort of have two parts. There is a thick part, which is called the body of the candle, and then there's a thin part sticking out either end, that is called the candle wick. And what they are doing is showing you what the price did over a given period of time. Now this chart we're on here is a 30-minute chart. You can see it says M30 here, which means it's a 30-minute chart. I'll show you a little bit about time frames in a moment, but basically what that means is each one of these rectangles, these candlesticks, is representing price action over a 30-minute period. So it's basically what the price of the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar has done in 30 minutes. Now, what the thick body part of the candle is showing you is where the price started and finished. So right at the first second of this 30-minute period, the price started here, and right at the end of the 30-minute period, the price ended here. And I know it started here and ended here because this candlestick went down. It's a red candlestick, so the price started up here and went down here. Now the wick, which you can barely see at the top here and at the end here, the wick is showing you the extremities the price got to during that 30-minute period. So at some stage in the 30-minute period, the price got up to the end of this wick. And at some stage in the 30-minute period, the price got down to the end of that wick. So the wicks are showing you the extremities of the price action in the given time period. The thick body part is showing you where it started and finished at the very beginning and the very end of that time period. And that is all a Japanese candlestick is showing you. It's just a fancier version of a line graph. It's just giving you a little bit more detail into what the price action was exactly doing. The next thing to go through, following on from that, is the time frame analysis bar. So I'll go through very quickly what most of these buttons up at the top do. The important one here at the end is the time frame analysis bar. So this allows you to change the time period that your candlesticks are representing. As I mentioned previously, we're on a 30-minute time frame chart here. It says M30 here. M30 is checked up here. If I was to click on M1 here, my chart will refresh, and now each one of these candlesticks is representing 1 minute of price action. I can go all the way up to month here, and my chart will take a little bit of time to refresh, but it is now showing that each one of these candlesticks represents 1 full month of trading. You'll see that my chart down here at the bottom is going all the way back to 2018. So you can change your time frame analysis with these buttons up here. The next little toolbar here is the drawing toolbar. It allows you to draw shapes and lines and notes and Fibonacci sequences and everything in between that you might want to draw on your chart. I won't go through all of them. I'll show you quick detail. You can click on the horizontal line button here, and you can click on your chart, and you can put in a horizontal line if you thought there was some support or resistance there. You can click and hold on your line, and you can move it around to get it set at the right price you want. You can double click your line, which will lock it in, which means you can't accidentally move it around. You can double click it again to unlock it, and you can move it around as you wish. When you have it, you can know your line is unlocked when you see a tiny little white square at the end of it. When it's unlocked, you could simply click delete on your keyboard, and that would delete it. Or at any point you can right click on your chart or your line and click delete. Or another way is you can right click on your chart and hit object list, and it will show you everything you've drawn there, and you can just highlight it and then hit delete, and you can delete that object from your chart. That is a quick overview of the drawing tools. The next two tools here are your cursor tool, which is what we're on here. Cursor tool obviously allows us to navigate around the chart. It'll also allow us to click and hold and drag backwards and forwards on our chart if we want to go scroll back to see some previous prices. The other tool here is your crosshair tool. You can click on that, and as you can see, it gives you a crosshair on your chart. Can be useful for getting some more information out of your chart. You could put your crosshair at the top of this candle wick, and you'll see over to the right hand side it will give us the price that was hit at the top of that candle wick, and down at the bottom it will give us the time that price was hit. One thing to note on the time on the bottom of your chart: brokers never tell the right time. What I mean by that is every broker is going to have a different time set on their server clock depending on where in the world they are, whether they observe daylight saving time or not, or whatever. But just one thing to note is your time on the bottom of your chart is likely going to be off by an hour or two depending on the time of year, but just account for that. You'll get used to it quite quickly. It's the same with every single broker out there. The next tool over here is just a screenshot tool. You can click on that and it'll print out a screenshot of your chart. These two buttons here, they do some quite simple things. This button, if you uncheck it, it just removes the empty space on the right hand side of your chart. That's all it does. Most people prefer the empty space over here on the right hand side. You can change the amount of open space by clicking on this little gray thing and moving it left and right. The next button beside it is what's called a tick monitoring or an automatic shift button. If we uncheck that, it allows us to scroll back and just keep looking at our chart. If this was checked, it's going to snap us back to the right hand side every time the price changes. So if I click on that, it's going to snap me back to the right hand side to the live price. This button here, we've already clicked on it a couple of times. It allows us to show all our charts in the one screen and organize them. I'll just go back into full screen. These two magnifying glasses buttons, I've clicked them once already. They do what you'd imagine they do. They allow you to zoom out and to zoom in on your chart. Obviously, one thing to note, this has nothing to do with the time frame, so it doesn't matter how much I zoom out, even though I can't really see the candlesticks here. I'm still on a 30-minute time frame, so each one of these candlesticks are still 30 minutes, no matter how much I zoom in or zoom out on them. The next button here, which you'll probably never use, is these three buttons here, which just allow you to very quickly change the style of chart you're looking at. We have the middle one here, which is candlesticks. If you want to quickly look at a line chart, you can click on that and it'll show you a line chart instead. If you want to click on a bar chart, you can click on that, it'll show you bar chart instead, but you'll generally just leave it on candlesticks. The new order button I'll go over in a second. It's one way of taking a trade on your platform. The algorithmic trading button is outside the scope of this. The rest of these buttons you don't really need to concentrate with. We've sort of gone over these ones in a different way, and these you can pretty much ignore for the scope of this demonstration. The next thing to do, I won't go into too much detail, but if you want to get into your technical analysis, you can of course add as many indicators and moving averages and things like that into your MT4 chart. And if you want to do that, you can click on insert and you can go to indicators, for example. You could go to trend, you could go to moving average. If you wanted to put in a basic moving average, you would put in the period here, maybe a 30 period moving average. You can choose the style, the thickness of the line, the color of the line, etc. Click OK. And you'll see it's put in this moving average, 30 period moving average that I just selected. You can, of course, right click on this and click delete indicator as well, same as with if you were drawing lines in. But that's a quick way of how you can add all the different indicators that you might want into your charts. The next thing to go through is the actual trading. Two different ways you can take a trade on MT4. One way is called one-click trading. One way you can enable one-click trading is by clicking this button up in the top left of your chart. It'll show you the one-click trading buttons, or you can just right-click on your chart and you'll see the one-click trading option there. So the one-click trading, you'll see it's opened up a large buy and sell button in the top left-hand corner of our chart. Those buttons do what you'd imagine they do. They will instantly buy or sell this market at whatever lot size you have in here. So that's the most important number, is this number in here in the middle, which is your lot size, which is obviously going to dictate how big or small your trade is going to be and how much money is ticking up and down every time this price ticks up and down. So I will show an example trade with using one-click trading, and then I'll show you another way of taking a trade. So let's just buy this market. I'll click the buy button. A disclaimer is going to pop up here. This disclaimer only pops up once. It is basically saying from now on, if you click that buy or that sell button, you are going to instantly execute a trade into the market. So just to be aware of that, you have to click accept terms, click OK. We'll click buy again, and we'll see that a trade has instantly been put into the market. So we've bought the market at this green dotted entry line is showing us where we bought the market. And you'll also see that a trade ticket has appeared down here in our trade bar. And the trade bar will give us a little bit of information. What we might want to do soon after we take our trade is we might want to put in a stop loss and a take profit. The quickest way of putting in a stop loss and a take profit is if you click and hold on the chart on your green dotted entry line and you drag down, you can put in a stop loss. So you'll see over here on this side, I'm keeping the mouse clicked here, but you'll see that we're dragging in this stop loss here. It'll give us a monetary value and a pip amount or point amount of how much we can lose in this trade. So if I drag it in here, I can see the most I'm going to lose is about $1, 135 points. I release the mouse. That stop loss is locked in now. If the market ever comes down and hits that red dotted line, whether we're away from our computer or our software is closed or whatever, it is going to automatically close our trade once it hits that line, and it will take $1.01 off our account balance, and that trade will be automatically closed. If we want to put in a take profit, you do exactly the opposite. You click and hold on your green dotted entry line and you drag up. You'll see again the monetary amount and the points here. You can just drop that line in. Again, if you hover over it, it will tell you the monetary amount and the points. And again, if this market ever comes up and hits that red dotted entry line, it will just close our trade and add $1.05 to our account balance. You can of course modify these at any time. You just click and hold on the line. You can move or take profit up or down as you wish. Now going back down to the trade ticket down here, I'll just run through the basic information that's been shown here. So for every trade you have on, you'll see another trade ticket, another line here will appear above your account balance, giving you the details of that trade. And just to the details, the symbol, this is just showing us what we've traded. We've traded the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. Ticket number is just a random ticket number assigned to the trade. The time, this is the time and date we just took the trade. The type, it's a buy trade, so we'll make money if the market goes up, we'll lose money if the market goes down. The volume, it's the smallest type of trade we could take. We took a 0.01, a micro lot, so we had 0.01 in this box up here when we executed. This is the price we executed our trade at, which is this green dotted entry line. This is the price our stop loss is at, which is this red dotted line. You'll see a little X beside that, which means you could close your stop loss from here as well. So you can right click on your stop loss here and click cancel stop loss, or you could click on this X and that will delete it. I'll just show you an example. We click X there, it's deleted our stop loss there. We want to put in another one, we can just click and hold and drag and drop in another one as we wish. The next one over here is the TP, or take profit. So that's this red dotted entry line. Works exactly the same way as the stop loss line. This price box here is showing you the current market price. So this gray line here, which is what the market is currently trading at. And the last most important box at the end is the profit box. So this is showing you what profit your trade is currently trading at. It'll always start off in a minus because that is the broker's spread fee. They're going to charge you a proportion. It'll be proportional to your lot size. So, you know, this trade would have started off in probably minus, well, about minus here, about minus 14, 15 pence or 10 pence maybe. And then everything after that is your profit or your loss. That's how the broker's making their money, is your trade will always start off in a minus and the broker is sort of pocketing that. Now, at any point, we could obviously leave this trade on and wait for it to hit our take profit or our stop loss. But you'll also see at the end of every trade ticket, there is a little X. If you click on that X at any point, you are just going to instantly close this trade at whatever this profit box is saying. So if I click X here, that was about minus 16 pence. You can see the trade instantly closed, and the 16 pence loss is just instantly reflected in our account balance there. That is the most basic way of taking a trade with MT4. There is another way of taking a trade by not using this one-click trading. You can also click on the new order button here, which opens up a new order ticket. And this allows you to do a couple of things. It allows you to input a little bit more information before you execute your trade, and allows you to change the type of trade you're taking. So we'll go through this now. Obviously the symbol, this is just telling us what market we're trading. We're obviously on the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. The type is an important thing. Market execution, that means that you're just going to be executing your trade right now at the market price, which is always the case when you're using this one-click trading up here. You are going to be opening or closing that trade instantly at the current market price. You are with the order ticket, what allows you to do is take a pending order, which I'll go through in a second, but I'll just go through the rest of the information here. This volume box here is the same as this box in the middle of your one-click trading. It allows you to change the size of your trade in terms of volume, obviously how much money ticks up and down as this price ticks up and down in your trade. Another thing the order ticket allows us to do is we can put in our stop loss and our take profit before we execute the trade if we want, just so we don't have to drag them in afterwards. It allows us to do that. So the fill policy is always going to be immediate or cancel because we're on a market execution type trade. The comment box is literally just, you can type in a comment to remind you of why you took the trade or some notes for the trade. And then you click these buttons down here, sell by market or buy by market, exactly the same as these buttons here. Now the other thing that this order ticket allows us to do is set up what's called a pending order. So a pending order is a trade that you want to take at some time in the future when certain market conditions are met. You know, if we want to buy this market only when the market gets to a certain price, we can put that price in here. And we can also put in our stop losses and our take profits and our volume and that kind of thing. Um, Expiration here, GTC is good till cancel, which means this trade will just stay here until you delete it. Or you can say a specific day, like today, or a specified day. You could put in a time and date. That basically means if this trade is not executed, in the next couple of days, then just delete it. I don't want to execute it after that. But that is the basic way of setting up a pending order. There is very different types of pending orders. You can basically buy or sell the market at a certain price at a certain point in the future. There are different types. You'll see here there's a buy limit, there's a buy stop, and there's a buy stop limit. They are all depending on where the current market, whether you're choosing a buy limit or a buy stop, is all depending on where the current market price is in relation to what price you want to buy at. So whether the market is above the price you want to buy at, or it's below the price that you want to buy at, dictates whether you're putting in a buy limit or a buy stop. And that's if there's actually good visualizations of the best way to figure out buy limits and buy stops is through visualization. If you type in what is the difference between a buy limit and a buy stop into Google, it will show you lots of very easy to understand pictures of which you should be choosing there in what scenario. That is pretty much the overview, the quick basics overview of MT4 or MT5. If you do have any additional questions after this, do feel free to get in touch with us here in Bull and Bear Capital. You're probably best to send an email to support@bullandbearcap.com. Or whoever you've been in contact with in Bull and Bear Cap, if you have any questions about the platform, or if you would like a little bit more information or a bit more tutorial on how to use it. Other than that, thanks for watching.